Good morning, grade sixes. Welcome to your daily lesson of mathematics brought to you by WorksheetCloud. I hope you guys are all really well this morning and looking forward to today's lesson. Just a reminder of the email address on your screen, grade6@worksheetcloud.com. Please feel free to send me any feedback, questions, queries, or perhaps there's a topic that you'd like me to cover, and I'd be more than happy to do so over the next couple of lessons. Today we are going to have a look at mental addition strategies. That's our main theme. And on either side of that, we've got our warm-ups, our mental arithmetic practice, and then our challenges to finish off on. So let's have a look at our warm-up for today. You guys know that you need to tell me the value of each symbol and then the question mark at the end. Please take note of the brackets, take note of the combination of operational signs, remember the order of operations. Work through it slowly and methodically, write everything down, and let's see how you guys get on. Right, off you go. So I'm going to start on the fourth line where it says 3 times 3, and we know that 3 times 3 is equal to 9. Okay, I'm then going to go up to the second line, and I know that 20 is equal to 11 plus 9, so the Venus flytrap needs to be 11. I can then go up onto the top line, and I know that 13 plus 11 is equal to 14. And if we have a look at the third line, we know that the Game Boy and the fighter jet are going to be equal to each other. So they must be 7 plus 7. Let's make a bit more space. So 7 plus 7 is equal to 14. So we know those two symbols are equal. And now the crucial part at the bottom is putting everything in order and making sure that we do the correct operations at the right time. So the potion is 9, the fly trap we said was 11, and we said the fighter jet was equal to 7, and then we needed to multiply by the Game Boy, which is 7. So we know that brackets comes first, so we can do 9 plus 11 is 20, and then 20 minus the 7 is 13. So ultimately we've got 13 multiplied by 7, and we can go 10 multiplied by 7 is 70, 3 multiplied by 7 is 21, add them together and we get an answer of 91. I hope you guys worked through that and got the answer. If not, press rewind and have another look at how that answer came about. Okay, daily practice number 13, your mental arithmetic questions are on the screen, 7 of them. Again, I'm going to encourage you to take your time and work through them methodically and logically. Make sure you're setting out your work correctly. I always encourage my students to set their work out vertically. So one line below the other instead of across the page. And then write everything down. When you see your thoughts on paper, they make a lot more sense to you. It's also easier to identify careless errors. And then remember to check your work at the end. And let's see how you guys get on. Okay, first question is addition. And by now we know that every single number needs to be in the correct column. Okay, and we know that with decimals, our decimals need to line up. Okay, that's very important. And then it's just a case of adding correctly. 6 and 5 is 11. You need to remember to carry the 1. 9 and 5 is 14. Decimal in the right place. 16, carry the 1. 746,421. Okay. Let's have a look at question number 2, which is subtraction. 528,6, and then 280,4. And when we subtract those, we subtract them normally, so 6 minus 4 is 2. Decimal again in the lines up in the right place. 8 minus 0 is 8. We can't do 2 minus 8, so we need to borrow, and that becomes 12 minus 8, which is 4. And then, that's a 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. And then remember the check. Okay, for me, the most important part, 4 and 2 is 6, yes. 8 and 0 is 8, yes. 4 and 8 is 12, and 2 and 2 is 4. So if all of that works out, then we know we must be correct. So in question 3, we've got 37 multiplied by 32. And by now you guys should be aware that there are multiple ways of doing a question like this. So the first method that comes to mind for me might be doubling and halving, because I've got an odd number and an even number. So I can double the odd number to 74, and I can halve the even number to 16. I can then double 74 again to 148 and halve 16 to 8. Okay, I can do it again. So double 148 is 296 multiplied by 4. And I can actually do it again. So double 296, double 200 is 400, double 90 is 180, so that's 580. And then double 6 is 12, so that's 592 multiplied by 2. And we can all multiply by 2. So double 500 is 1,000, double 90, 180, double 4 is 4. So if we put that together, we get 1,184. Okay, let's just go have a look at another method to see if our calculations actually work out. So another way we could go is perhaps 37 times 30. All right, and we just need to go 37 times 3. So 30 times 3 is 90, 7 times 3 is 21. If I add 90 and 21 together, I get 111. And then I must remember the 0 from multiplying by 30. Then I must also do 37 multiplied by 2. That's going to give me 74. And if I add those numbers together, hopefully I get 1,184. And indeed I do. So you could have also used the column method. That would have given you the same answer. You guys must choose whichever method you're most comfortable with. But my advice for you is to make sure you write everything down to make it more logical for yourself and perhaps for the person who's checking your work. 2,404 divided by 2. Right, we can do this using the traditional short division method. And we know that 2 goes into 2 once. Decimals must line up. 2 goes into 4 twice. Does not go into 0. Goes into 4 twice. And that should be our answer. And remember, the checking strategy of that is 1,202 multiplied by 2. Okay, and that's going to give us 2,404. So that we should be happy with our calculations. In question number 5, we've got the addition of fractions. And the first thing you can notice is that the denominators are different. So we've got 2 over 7 plus 1 over 2. We need to find the lowest common multiple of 7 and 2, which will give us the lowest common denominator of 14. So 7 goes into 14 twice. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 goes into 14 7 times. 7 times 1 is 7. When we add those together, we are going to get 11 over 14, which is in its simplest form. Question 6 is the division by a multiple of 10, and that is 1,000 in this instance. So I'm pretty confident that you guys know when you divide, the number becomes smaller, okay? And when you divide by 1,000, that number becomes 3 places smaller, because 1,000 is 10 times 10 times 10, and we've spoken about the base 10 system that we use. So that answer is going to give you 0,109. And then your last question, question number 7, is all about order of operations. And we should know that division comes first. So I need to do the 12 divided by 2 first, and that gives me 6. And then 4 add 6 is going to give me 10. Guys, well done if you've been working through these mental arithmetic problems and you're remembering these concepts. It's always good to practice these things so they become second nature. And yeah, I look forward to practicing them more often with you over the next few lessons. Okay, our main theme today was mental addition strategies. And the first strategy we're going to look at is the jump strategy. Okay, So this is when we're just adding numbers together. How can we make it easier for ourselves? How can we make it more visual so that we understand exactly what we're doing to the numbers and how the numbers are composed and how do we decompose those numbers? So a very handy tool to be able to break numbers up, put them back together again in multiple ways. And as you can see on the screen, when we add, we can use the jump strategy to help us. And I've given you the example of 178 plus 33. So we've started at 178. We've broken up 33 into 10 plus 10 plus 10, which is equal to 30. And then we've broken up the units, which is 3, into 1 plus 1 plus 1. And we've used a number line so that we can visually see what happens to the numbers when we add those broken up components. And it makes it really easy for you to see that 178 plus 33 is equal to 211. Now you can break up the 33 into numbers that you are more comfortable with. Perhaps you might have broken it up into 20 and 10, and then 1 plus 1 plus 1. Ultimately, the choice is yours, but I would encourage you to write down and just jot down or sketch a number line just to make sure that you understand the strategy and the numbers that you are adding. So I'd like you to have a go. So draw 2 number lines on your piece of paper. Try to keep it as neat as possible. So your first one is actually a subtraction sum. So let's see how you get along with that. So start at 225 and break up the numbers to subtract 47. And then your second example, start at 521 and break up the numbers to add up 52. Let's see how you guys get on. We're back on the Google Jamboard. So we can see we're going to start at 225 and we need to break up 47. And we can break up 47 into 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 first. Okay, so if we go 10 back from 225, we know we get 215. 10 back again, 205. Another 10, 195. And then another 10, 185. And then we just need to jump back 7 places. So we can go 7 individual units. Alternatively, we could jump back 5 to 180 and 2 to 178. And there is our answer. So we've jumped 10, a second 10, another 10, and that's given us 40. Then we decided to jump back 5 and then 2. Okay. Now you could also, if you wanted to, you could jump back in, perhaps you wanted to jump back in 20s. So if I went 20 back from 2 to 5, that's going to give me 205. And if I went another 20 back, we know that's going to give me 185. Okay. And then again, you can decide to either go back 5 to 180 and then back another 2 to 178. Okay, it really helps if you recognize, for example, that the 7 from the 47 can be broke up into 5 and 2, and that you can see from 185 we can go back 5 to 180. But if you had gone back 7 individual units, no problem. You would have got to the same answer. On the second example, we are adding. So here we can go 10, add 10, add 10, add 10, add 10. Okay, so we know that's going to give us 531. Add another 10 to 541. Add another 10 to 551. Another 10 to 561, and another 10 to 571. Okay, and then we just need to jump 2 places, and that's going to give us 573. Okay, yes, you could have also jumped in a different amounts. Okay, and perhaps you had gone 20 first. That would have given you 541. Another 20. That would have given you 561. we would have gone 10 then to 571, okay, and then the additional 2 to 573, okay. As long as you're comfortable with the numbers you've broken up into, and here we are adding and subtracting predominantly friendly numbers. Remember, friendly numbers are numbers that end in 0, and they are the easiest numbers to deal with. Okay, so I hope that that jump strategy makes sense to you. It's visually appealing. You can see exactly what's happening to the numbers as you work with them, and I encourage you to use these methods moving forward. Okay, we can also use the jump strategy with decimals. And I personally find this very helpful, because often when we work with decimals, it's difficult for us to visualize the decimal components, so like the tenths or the hundredths. And the jump strategy makes it quite nice and easy to visualize and understand. Again, we first jump in the whole numbers. So you can see in the example 38,6 plus 2,6. So first we jump 2 places for the 2 units in 2,6, and then we jump the individual tenths, which is 0,6, and that gives us an answer of 41,2. So here are 4 examples for you to do. And again, I'd encourage you to first jump in the whole numbers, so the units, and then jump in the tenths. Take your time, work accurately, use a pencil and paper, draw your number lines, and let's see how you guys get on. You can see I've already split 3,1 up into its individual components. So we look for 35,4 on the number line, and then we break 3,1 up into 1 plus 1 plus 1, and you can see that that will take us to 38,4, and then we need to add that additional 0,1, and that will leave us with an answer of 38,5. Okay, so let's have a look at 84,3. 84,3 will start off over here. All right, so if we put 84,3 into the box, and then we need to find 1 unit after 84,3, and that's going to give us 85,3. So there we've added the 1 unit, and from 85,3 we know that we need to go further another 8 tenths. Okay, and then if we count 8 tenths from 85,3, right, you can see where we end up, and then we just need to write our answer down, which is going to be 86,1. Okay, so again, nice and easy to visualize. Question, or the third example, is 36 minus 3,3. And if I just clear a bit of space here quickly, and we can move it up. Okay. So we need to start, and it's subtraction this time, so we're going to be working backwards. Okay, so 36 minus 3,3. I'm going to break up the 3,3 into 3 units and 3 tenths. So if we go back 1 whole unit, we'll go back to 35. We go back another whole unit, we'll go back to 34, and another whole unit will go back to 33. Okay, then from 33 we just need to go back 3 tenths. Okay, and we can see there quite nicely and quite visually that that's going to give us an answer of 32,7. Okay, so a little bit easier with this one, because we were able to start at a whole number of 36, whereas the first 2 examples we had to start at a decimal place. Okay, and then the fourth example is 51 minus 2,9, and again we can go back the units first. So 51, take away that first unit, is going to give us 50. Take away that second unit, it's going to give us 49. All right, and then we just need to go back those 9 tenths, and we can see that it leaves us with an answer of 48,1. Okay, so if we wanted to check that quickly, we could say what's 48,1 plus 2,9. Okay, and if we did the reverse and we went from 48,1 to 49,1 to 50,1, and then we went forward the 9/10, you can see that it will leave us with an answer of 51, which is where we started, and then our answer must be correct. Okay, so guys, that's just a strategy to help you visualize adding and subtracting decimals, and as we looked at earlier, you could break up hundreds and tens and units. You can also obviously break up your units and your decimals, which is your units and your tenths. And I'd encourage you to use this method until you become more comfortable with other more complicated methods. Okay, the next method I would like to talk about is the split strategy. And the split strategy we also see in multiplication, so it's not really anything new. And as you can see on the screen, it says split the second number into its different place values. So 347 plus 178. The first thing I'm going to do is go 347 plus 100, 447. Then 447 plus the 70, 517. And 517 plus 8, 525. So therefore 347 plus 178 is 525. Now you may absolutely use a combination of the split and the jump strategy. So for example, when you get to 447 plus 70, you can add in tens. Okay, so you can go 447 at 10, at 10, at 10 on a number line 7 times. If you feel more comfortable with that and you want to visually see how your number is getting larger, or as I said before, you can break it up into bigger amounts. You might go 20, 20 and 10, or 30, 30, 10, or 50 and 20. And then when you add the 8 units, you can add individual units. You can add 5 and 3. You can add 3, 3, 2. You can add 4 and 4. It's entirely up to you. But if you are going to break it up like that, then maybe it is better for you to have a visual representation using a number line. And that's just going to give you peace of mind and confidence that your calculations are correct. So the split strategy, just to recap, you're breaking up the second number into its individual place value components. So first hundreds, then tens, then units, and then you're adding those, and you just keep building onto the answer. So I'd like you to have a go with the split strategy. There are 4 examples for you on the screen. Just note that I've included some decimal calculations there, which I encourage you guys to use the split strategy to do again. Have a go. Let's see how you guys get on. 478 plus 169, I've sketched it out for you on the Google Jamboard already. So you can see I've broken up 169 first into 100. So 478 plus 100 is 578. Then I use the jump strategy to add the 60. Okay, so you can see I've added 10 to 588, then the second 10, the third 10, fourth 10, and fifth 10, and that gave me 638. And then I just needed to add the 8 units at the bottom, and that gives me an answer of 646. Okay, the next question was 421 minus 153. So again, I'm going to first subtract 421 and 100, and that's going to give me 321. Okay, and then from 321, I'm going to use my jump strategy just to make it a little bit more visual and easier for me to understand. And first, I'm actually going to go back 20, because that's going to give me 301. And then I know if I go back 30 places from there, 300 minus 30 is 270. So 301 minus 30 must be 271. And then I just need to go from 271, subtract a further 3, and that's going to give me 268. Remember your checking strategy that you can use. You can always go 268 and add 153. So 268 plus 100 is 368. 368, perhaps plus, first you want to go plus 3 is 271, and then add the 50 to 421. Alternatively, you can first add the 50 and then the 3. You know, the beauty of maths is that you can play around with the numbers to whatever you feel comfortable with, but I do encourage you guys to always check your work by doing the inverse operation. Decimal question was 32,3 plus 2,3, and let's go have a look at that on the Jamboard. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to break 2,3 up into 2 and 0,3. Okay, so what that means is then 32,3 plus 2 equals 34,3, and then 34,3 plus 0,3 is going to give 34,6. Okay, so that's quite a nice visual representation of how that calculation works with the split strategy. And then with the subtraction, I'm first going to subtract 9. Okay, but to subtract 9, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the jump strategy, and I'm going to go back 9 places. Okay, so if I go back 6 places, I know that I'm going to end up at 40,8. So there I'm just jumping, instead of going individual units, I've just gone back 6 first. I still need to go back another 3. And I know that 40 minus 3 is 37. So 40,8 minus 3 must be 37,8. And now I just need to take off the tenths. So I still need to take off the 0,3. And you can see quite clearly that that is now 37,5. Okay. Guys, I really hope that that maybe helps you when you come to these kind of calculations with your classwork, homework, or assessments. Again, I can't emphasize enough how much more clearer and how much more sense it seems to make when you actually write things down and draw things out. And as basic as number lines are, they really, really are useful to helping you gain a deeper understanding in the numbers that you're dealing with. Guys, as you can see, your finisher today is now a yellow game of 24. It's the toughest level out of the entire game. So I've really challenged you here to try come up with the answer of 24 using, for example, on the first card, 8, 9, 2, and 6. You can use add, subtract, multiply, or divide. You can use one of them, two of them, all of them. It's entirely up to you. Remember your order of operations. Write down your calculations so you can see what you're doing and you can see what you're thinking. And challenge someone at home on this new level, and hopefully it creates a little bit of a buzz and excitement around your mathematical learning. Grade 6ers, thanks very much for joining me today. I hope you guys learned something new or consolidated some past information that you would have been taught. Keep safe, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. All the best.